Some of us feel as if there's just not enough hours in the day. We are constantly rushed and struggle to keep our head above water. People who are always busy may appear to be accomplishing a lot, but are they actually being productive? The fact of the matter is, busy does not equal productive. Just because someone is constantly performing tasks does not necessarily mean they are moving closer to any major goals. Here are some of the fundamental differences between busy people and productive people. Busy people have many goals. Productive people have priorities. Multitasking may seem like a valuable skill, but if you tried to read 5 books at once, do you really think you'll retain any of the knowledge? Trying to reach too many goals at the same time is actually slower than handling each goal one at a time. Productive people, on the other hand, set stubborn priorities and are able to categorize their goals in such a way that the most critical things get handled first and receive the most attention. So if your top priority is six-pack, start your day with 1,000 sit-ups. No excuses, no distractions. Not let emails, texts, or any other lesser tasks interfere with the higher priority. Once the highest priority task has been completed, then and only then can you move on to the next highest priority task. The next major difference is busy people quickly say yes to everything. Productive people say no or take time to consider and calculate before saying yes. Bruce Lee once said, "One does not accumulate, but eliminate. It is not daily increase, but daily decrease. The height of cultivation always runs on simplicity." Which basically means having less in your life will actually lead to more clarity, creation, and production. If you say yes to every little request, you are filling your schedule with tasks that are not getting you closer to your ultimate goals of freedom and success. Productive people have learned to shut the door to distractions and sidetracks. There's a philosophy in economics called the 80-20 law, which states that the vast majority of profit comes from a small fraction of a client base. 80% of revenue comes from 20% or less of your customers. Conversely, 80% of your headaches and problems come from 20% of your difficult clients. So in theory, saying no to difficult clients or stressful tasks will lead to more success and allow you to focus on the greater target. Busy people get things done just in time. Productive people set unrealistic deadlines. If you were going on a trip in a month, how long would it take you to pack? I bet in 30+ days, an hour before your flight, you would still be scrambling around trying to finish packing. But let's say you had a gun to your head and you were told to pack in 10 minutes. Could you do it? Of course you could, because work always takes the full amount of time you allow it to. So if you set a goal with no deadline in sight, that goal will just keep getting further away. By setting an unrealistic deadline, you force yourself into immediate action. The most productive people have only 1 to 3 things on their daily to-do list. Busy people will have more than 20. So the next time you make a to-do list, ask yourself, what is my highest priority? What can I eliminate? Am I just inventing things to feel busy? With this mindset, the vision becomes clear and success becomes a reality. For more awesome and inspiring videos like this, please subscribe.
Hi, I'm Clancy Claassen with the University of Maryland Baltimore Writing Center, and in this video, we're going to talk about the content you'll need to include when writing an abstract. If you haven't already done so, please download our abstracts handout. Most abstracts contain 4 sections: the problem and purpose, the methods, the results, and the conclusions and implications. Hey, that looks familiar. My paper's organized the same way. Exactly. That's because abstracts are summaries of your paper. And like your paper, the abstract will tell a story. There was a problem, we set out to do something or learn something about it. This is what we did, this is what we found, and this is what that means. Okay, makes sense. Who doesn't love a good story? So let's take a closer look at each of those sections. First, the problem and purpose. The opening sentences of your abstract need to seize your reader's attention. So clearly state the problem and clearly state your purpose. Don't be afraid to start your purpose sentence with the phrase, "The purpose of this study is to blank." That's a good way to start. For example, take a look at this problem and purpose. Homelessness is associated with many health risks, including high body mass index or BMI. The purpose of the study is to investigate the relationship between homelessness and BMI among Baltimore teenagers. Next, let's talk about your methods. Now, you're not going to have a lot of space to go into great detail about your methodology. If the use of a certain instrument is common in your field, you probably don't need to go into great length about it. So ask yourself, what are the most significant details about my methodology? In other words, what will readers need to know to understand your results and your conclusions? Back to our example. High schoolers around the city anonymously reported their current housing status, height, and weight. Height and weight were then converted to BMI. After your methods come your results. Just like the methods section, you need to ask yourself, what are the most significant results? Focus on the results that relate most strongly to your problem and purpose and to your conclusions and implications. Here are the results in our example. Homelessness was found to be associated with higher BMIs. Last, the conclusions and implications. This section should point back to your problem and purpose. What do your results mean in the context of the problem? So here's the conclusion. Further investigation is needed to determine the causes of high BMIs among youth experiencing homelessness. So there you have it. That's the content of most abstracts. Remember, the details may change, but the overall story, that's going to stay the same. I'm Clancy Claassen. Stay tuned for more videos.
Hello, today we'll discuss the most important aspect of a research paper, the title. The title is the first thing journal editors and reviewers will see when they receive your paper. It is also the only aspect that will be freely available to readers through search engines or indexing databases. Follow these steps to create the perfect title for your paper. Step 1. Ask yourself these questions. What is my paper about? For example, my paper studies whether drug A improves the motor function of patients suffering from Alzheimer's. What technique/design did I use? I used a randomized trial. Who or what did I study? I studied 400 cases from 6 states in the US. And what were the results? There was an improvement in the motor function of patients. Step 2. List keywords from your answers in step 1. From the previous example, we get some keywords. Drug A, randomized trial, Alzheimer's, 6 states in the US, 400 cases, improvement in the motor function. Step 3. Use these keywords to create a sentence. This study is a randomized trial that investigates whether drug A improved the motor function in 400 Alzheimer's patients from 6 states in the US. It reports an improvement in the motor function. Don't worry if this sentence is long. You're about to polish it. Step 4. Create a working title. Delete all repetitive or unnecessary words from this sentence. Here's how. So what you get from this example is, randomized trial of drug A for improving motor function in 400 Alzheimer's patients from 6 states in the US reports improved motor function. Note the word count of this working title. Step 5. Create a final title. Start polishing. Delete information that is not essential. Randomized trial of drug A for improving motor function in 400 Alzheimer's patients. There, you have a title for your research paper. You could also add a subtitle to this version. Drug A improves motor function in 400 Alzheimer's patients, a randomized trial. Let's do a quick recap. Remember, always write a title after you've finished writing your research paper. Keep it short and simple. Include all essential information about your paper. Avoid using abbreviations or too many technical terms. Use keywords that highlight what your paper is about. Never insert a period at the end of your title. That brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you find these tips helpful. For more resources on writing and publishing a research paper, visit Editage Insights at www.editage.com/insights. Happy writing!
Editage Insights presents How to Write an Outline for Your Research Paper. Why do you need an outline for your research paper? When you conduct research, you collect a lot of information and ideas. A research outline can help you organize your thoughts better, understand the flow and levels of information in your research, ensure that you don't miss anything while writing. Prepare a well-structured, neatly organized manuscript. So as you can see, preparing an outline for your paper will help you write it better and faster. Let's get started and learn how you can create an outline for your paper. First, make a list of all the sections in your paper. Your research paper should follow the IMRAD format and must include an introduction, methods, results and discussion, and conclusion. This is the basic outline for your research paper. Next, write down the main facts, points, or arguments that should be covered under each section. Let's take a closer look at all sections. What should you talk about in the introduction? The importance of your research, the goals of your paper, an overview of the organization of your paper, and a literature review. In the methods section, you need to talk about the scope of your methods and analysis, and describe each major method you used in your research. In the results section, you must report the results for each method used. And mention whether you were able to achieve the goals of your research. In the discussion section, you need to focus on how your study contributes to existing research in the field, and on how your results for each method are significant. And finally, in the conclusion, you must tie it all in together. Sum up the objectives of your paper. List your major findings. Share the implications of the study findings, and mention the scope of further research on the same topic. Your research outline is now ready, and this is how it looks.
That's not enough hours in the
Remember,
day. We are
a
constantly...
research outline is the first step of manuscript writing, so you must have an outline ready
Some of us
before
feel
you
as if
start
there's
writing.
just not enough hours in the day.
Good luck with your paper.
Hello students, and welcome to our brief video on the topic of APA style basics. In the next 5 minutes, we hope you will have a better understanding of what APA is, why we ask you to use it, and where you can go if you have further questions about it. So what is APA? APA stands for American Psychological Association. It's basically a writing format for academic research papers. It shows you how to cite info that you've gathered from your sources. Your instructor will probably require that your sources be either books or articles retrieved from our library databases, although from time to time you might also use other source formats as well. APA also provides clear rules about how to align text on your paper. For example, rules such as only using 12-point Times New Roman font and making sure that you have 1-inch margins on both sides of your paper. Some students ask, why do you require us to follow APA style in the first place? I mean, wouldn't it be sufficient if I just copied and pasted the web address from a website? Aren't these rules just arbitrary and annoying more than anything else? And my answer to that would be, there are 3 good reasons why APA is required at your institution. First, your instructor needs to see where you've learned the information you're writing about in your paper. Your citations and your references will be structured in such a way that he or she can get a clear picture of how you went about your research at the library, and that's important. Secondly, following APA rules ensures that your paper will be of professional caliber. Third, even though some of the APA rules might seem baseless, by learning how to follow them, you will improve your organizational and critical thinking skills. Now, the good news is that learning APA does not need to be an arduous task. You will find as you progress through your courses that APA style starts to come naturally to you, because much of it is based around a set of constant points that won't usually vary too much. So there are 4 main parts of an APA paper: a title page, an abstract, the main body of your text, and finally, your list of references. Now, your title page is pretty simple. That just consists of the title of your paper, your name, the name of your institution, and also a running head and page number. Now, from pages 2 throughout the end of your paper, the header and the page number will remain the same, and the only difference on the first page is that it says running head with a colon in front of it. You can ask your librarians for assistance with inserting the header and page number. Next is your abstract. This is just a 1-paragraph summary of your topic, your methods, and any conclusions you may have drawn from the evidence you found in your sources. This abstract just gives your reader a brief initial overview of what your paper is about. Third is the main body of your paper, and this will comprise the lion's share of your assignment. Your goal is to take the info you found at the library and to weave it into your own thoughts and words. Think of it like cooking a meal with several ingredients. A good cook doesn't just buy raw, uncooked ingredients and then throw them on a plate for somebody to eat for dinner. Rather, the ingredients are prepared so that the finished meal is something of the cook's own creation, a transformed, wholly new product made from a set of starting points. And that's what your writing process will be like. You take raw information and come up with your own point of view and your own line of reasoning on it. The other method of just throwing stuff onto a plate and calling it your own would equate to plagiarism, and that's the use of others' thoughts and research as your own. Ensure that the main body of your paper features intro and conclusion paragraphs as well as in-text citations. In-text citations are very important. They're sort of like small references that tell your reader exactly where you got a specific fact or idea from. And finally, fourth, you'll list your full references for each source that you consulted. Formatting your references page is often one of the areas of APA that students tend to get frustrated with because at first it is a little bit confusing, but your librarians will have plenty of resources that should make this task much easier, so just let us know. So that's APA style in a nutshell. As you learn how to format your assignments, remember that there are people on campus who can answer any further questions that you have. The first place you should probably go is your campus library. We will offer instructional documents, sample sheets, handouts, and personalized assistance so that APA starts to make more sense. And like I said, once you've got it down, you'll find that doing it again in the future becomes much easier. So we hope you found this video informative. Thanks for watching.
Recall that a population refers to the group of things that we want information about, and a sample refers to part of the population that we take out to examine and draw conclusions from. In this video, we will be looking at the different methods of obtaining a sample. But first, let's look at the types of biased samples. Biased samples occur when one or more parts of the population are favored over others. The two types of biased samples include the convenience sample and the voluntary response sample. A convenience sample only includes people who are easy to reach. If this is our population and a researcher comes along to interview people, then he would only talk to the people that are closer to him to be part of the sample. This is a biased sampling method because not everyone in the population has an equal chance of being part of the sample. Only people that are of convenience to the researcher will be interviewed. Now, a voluntary response sample consists of people that have chosen to include themselves in the sample. So the researcher lets people come to him. This is a biased sampling method because people with a strong interest for the survey topic are the ones who are most likely to respond, whereas the people who don't feel as strongly about the topic may not even care to respond. Remember that a good sample is one that is representative of the entire population, and it gives each thing an equal chance of being chosen. When we get the total of 6 people. A stratified random sample is good for making sure that whoever is administering the sample gets in contact with each kind of group. The last type of sampling is called multi-stage sampling. For multi-stage sampling, we use a combination of 2 or more simple random samples. As the name suggests, multi-stage sampling means you have to go through different stages to find where your sample comes from. For example, if we have 3 groups, stage 1 could be selecting which group will be picked using an SRS. Let's say that I picked out group 1, then that means I would only look at group 1. Then for stage 2, I would do another SRS to get the 6 random people. We go through different stages of simple random samples to get the actual sample, and this is why this is called multi-stage sampling. I'd like to point out that instead of putting names in a hat, there's another way to pick things randomly. We can use something called the random digits table. The random digits table consists of a long string of random numbers, and it can help us do an SRS. To use it, I would first have to label each member of the population with a number. We have 30 people in this population, so I will label each person from 1 to 30. Notice how I have written 0, 1 instead of just 1. Doing this helps us use the random digits table. Since each label has 2 digits, we will read the string of numbers 2 digits at a time. So let's say I want a sample size of 4. We will use the random digits table to randomly select 4 people. The first number on the table is 19. So person 19 will be part of the sample. The second number is 22, so person 22 will be part of the sample. The third number is 39, but our sample size doesn't go up to 39, so we will ignore it. We will also ignore 50 and 34, but we will keep number 5. We will also ignore 75, 62, and 87, but we will keep number 13. As a result, these are the people we would survey.
6 creative ways to brainstorm ideas. During the brainstorm process, it can be easy to hit a brick wall. If your brainstorm session has reached a dead end, here are some creative ways to generate fresh ideas that your audience will love. Mind mapping. This strategy creates a visual representation of related terms and ideas that can generate creative content ideas. Create a diagram with a central main idea that you can branch off to correlating words or concepts. Use the web of information in the diagram to help you generate a well-rounded view on single or multiple ideas. Right braining. Release your creative thoughts by doodling incomplete images. Think of a general topic to doodle from and start sketching images associated to that topic. Be sure to draw images that are incomplete, as leaving out portions or aspects of an image can spark creativity later. Then take your different images and try combining them in different ways to generate a new idea. Provocative actions. Look at things differently by changing your physical surroundings or by verbally communicating in unexpected ways. Try shaking things up. Physically change a room by turning the chairs upside down or verbally make an off-the-wall comment. For example,
could you design upside down?
What does the word design look like upside down?
Either way, unusual situations will ignite creative responses that you can pull ideas from. Break and build. This process is about breaking down and building up ideas to get a range of related information. Break down a general thought or idea into more detailed pieces of information, or do the opposite and build it up to reach a broader viewpoint. In the end, your solution can be based on the wide range of information from the process. Pessimist versus optimist. Find a creative solution for ideas from the conversation between a pessimist and an optimist. Start off a general topic of conversation with the phrase, "How about?" Then challenge the starting comment with a pessimistic response, followed by the optimist providing his answer to the pessimist's comment. For example,
we do not know how to design an infographic.
We can hire an infographic designer.
We do not have any ideas for him to design.
We can research ideas and hand him an outline.
By building upon each other's responses, a general idea can evolve into a more focused, relevant one. Randomness. Find the connection between a random word or thought and a general topic to develop a new creative idea. First, start with a general idea. Next, generate a random object and list words that can describe it or are associated with it. Last, pick the words from your list that can relate back to your general idea to form your solution. The next time you hit a brick wall, try using these creative development methods to make brainstorming for your content ideas a more fun, imaginative process with better solutions.
Time to write a conclusion. Let's do it. Why do you need a conclusion? Well, the conclusion helps provide closure to the reader. It drives those main points home one last time, and it really tries to give the reader an understanding of why it matters. Why did they just take all that time to read your essay? Hopefully Mostly it answers for them like, who cares about your topic? So that's why you need some conclusion at the end. Here's how you can do it, all right? Again, we talked about this with introductions. There is no one set of rules for writing a conclusion. There's no right way and wrong way. If you're struggling to figure out a way to do it and you're not sure where to start, use TSS, okay? Thesis, summarize, super so what? The thesis. You do not want to repeat your thesis exactly as you had it in your introduction paragraph. But what you want to do is say the same thing again as a way to make sure that the reader is getting your point, but you're going to paraphrase it this time, okay? So you're making the same point in a new language. And why do you need that in your conclusion? This is your last chance to drive home the point that you're trying to prove. So you don't want to miss it. It's like the closing arguments in a court case and you're the lawyer. In the second part, the first S, you're going to summarize. And what are you summarizing? Well, you're summarizing your arguments. You're summarizing the main points you made to try to prove your thesis. And you're going to try to paraphrase those a little bit as well. You don't want to just be repeating what you've done. It's going to sound repetitive and boring to the reader. You want to try to provide a new twist on it or a different way of saying the same thing. In this section, it's probably okay to include either main ideas from your topic sentences, but you might even include a few specific threads, especially if they were really powerful. And then finally, you're going to add a super so what. We talked a lot about so what's earlier. This is the so what for the whole essay. It pairs off of your thesis. It's that one thing that you really want the reader to take away from reading your whole essay. It should answer for them, why do I even care about your essay? The super so what should tell them why they care, okay? And this is going to be the last line of your essay. You want to end strong, and then after that, you do not say anything else. All right, so let's look at our examples. We'll continue with cats and dogs. First, for my thesis section of my conclusion, my original thesis was dogs are better pets than cats. So I'm going to paraphrase that. I'm going to say the same thing, right? That dogs are better, but I'm going to do it a little differently. So now I'm going to say dogs make the best pets in the world. Does that still contain that idea that they're better than cats? Well, sure, yeah, it does. It says dogs are great, and if they're the best in the world, then that means they're better than cats. In the second part, to summarize my main points, I've changed the order a little bit and I've changed some of the wording. Instead of saying that they're hygienic, I'm saying that dogs are cleaner. Instead of saying that they're brimming with friendliness, I'm going to say they're better at showing affection and ultimately easier to train. So that's my summarized sentence. My super so what? Well, change your life for the better. Go get a dog. That's what the reader cares about. That's what I want the reader to do now, or what I want them to think about dogs and cats now that they're going forward after reading my essay. Go get a dog. All right? If we combine these together into a paragraph, it reads like this. Dogs make the best pets in the world. They are cleaner, better at showing affection, and ultimately are easier to train. Change your life for the better. Go get a dog. And that's a great little 3-sentence conclusion. Again, though, I would push you to say that's pretty good, but we can do better. So I'm going to improve and expand on the same ideas. Once I have those ideas, I can start to stretch them out a little bit. So here's the final version. There's no doubt that dogs make the best pets in the world. They provide a cleaner environment for your home, are not afraid to show their feelings, and can be trained to do a variety of tricks and jobs. Every second that goes by, you are missing out on happiness. Get out of your chair and make a positive difference in your life. Go get a dog.
Do you know what your professor means by research? Can you tell if your article is a research article? If you answered no to either of these questions, you are in danger of failing and you really need to watch this video. The term research can be confusing because it is used by different people to mean different things. Simply looking up the term research in a dictionary won't help you. The dictionary defines the term research in a few ways that do not relate to what your professor means. The definition that states research is a careful study aimed at discovering new knowledge about something is closer, but it will not get you through your research class. Researchers do a lot more than simply gathering or searching for information. Research is defined by academics as a logical, systematic, in-depth, and rigorous investigation of a question or problem. This investigation is conceptualized, designed, and carried out using specific procedures supported by theory and evidence in order to maintain high-quality results. Many kinds of research exist. For example, researchers may conduct experiments or interviews depending on the type of research being done. Quality research articles can be found in peer-reviewed journals. Remember that editorials, commentaries, and theoretical articles that you may find in peer-reviewed journals are not research. Some are supported by research, but are not considered research themselves. Research articles have a specific layout that contains key information about a study that was done. They are organized into 4 main sections, including an introduction section, design section, results or findings section, and finally the discussion section. Sometimes these sections will have slightly different names, but they contain the same information. For example, the term methods, methodology, and design are often interchanged as headings for the section that tells you about the decisions the researcher made when planning and carrying out the study. Another good thing to note is that quantitative research papers will often use the word results, whereas qualitative research papers will often use the word findings for the section of the paper that contains what was discovered. To make things even more confusing, there are different kinds of studies out there that are held to different standards. That is why your teacher doesn't want you to just use anything that calls itself research. In university, teachers want you to find a specific, high-quality kind of research article. That is why they want you to use the school's library databases to find articles in peer-reviewed journals. It is possible to find the kind of research a professor is looking for through Google, but you need more skill to sort through what you find there. Once you find something good, you may or may not have access to the full article. So, especially if you are a beginner, it is safer to go to your library's databases to search for peer-reviewed articles. Many assignments in nursing will ask you to find and use research articles. Sometimes it can be tricky to decide if an article you have found is a research article or one of the other types of articles out there. What do you think is the best way to tell the difference between a research article and a non-research article? Post your tips below. Thank you for watching.
Meet Jenny. Jenny has a research project due in a few days. She picked a topic when her professor first assigned the project. She chose her favorite TV show, Bridezillas. It seemed like a good idea. But now that she's doing her research, she's having a lot of trouble finding sources. She's freaking out. Jenny's problem started with her mental model of the research problem. Which she sees as a one-way street. Like many students, Jenny thinks that once a project is assigned, she should pick her topic right away. Then she can move on to finding sources and reading through them. And once she has all her sources, she can start writing her paper. But the research process is a lot messier than that, and Picking your topic is intertwined with finding and reading sources, and writing and editing your paper. Picking your topic is research. When you first pick a research topic, it isn't set in stone. It's just an idea that you test with some exploratory research. If it looks good, you find and read some more sources. At this point, you might find that the published research leads you away from your original topic. That's okay. You can let the research you find guide you and tweak your topic a bit. And by the time you've gone through this cycle a few times, you may find that you have enough sources to start writing and editing your paper. Even then, as you're writing, you may find that you need to pull in additional pieces of information, and you may return to the research cycle. So, let's wind back the clock for Jenny, bringing her back to the day her professor assigned this project, and allow her to do it again with this research model. Again, Jenny picks a topic that is interesting to her, the reality TV show Bridezillas. As she tests the topic with some internet research and in article databases, she discovers that there is lots written about it in the popular press, but not much scholarly research which her professor requires. Realizing that maybe her topic is a bit too narrowly defined, Jenny decides to tweak it. Scope to reality TV in general. But when she tests this new topic, drowning in a sea of research, all of which has to do with reality TV, but doesn't tie together to help her form a coherent thesis. Back at the drawing board, she wonders if there's a happy medium between Bridezillas, which is too narrow a topic, and reality TV, which is too broad. Since Bridezillas is just one of several reality TV shows about brides and weddings, perhaps there's more written about this subgenre. Testing this topic in some of the library's research databases yields a promising but not overwhelming number of results. Instead of realizing too late that her topic was unresearchable, Jenny built in the time to test and tweak her topic, so she could take her original idea and shape it into a topic that she still finds interesting and can realistically use for a short research assignment. If you want to know more about the research process or about how to pick a good topic,